Hi everyone. It's good to connect back with you. It's been a few weeks on again in the CV19 universe that we've all entered into, and trust you're surviving it okay. And I just wanted to bring another word of encouragement and support to you all, and to give you a few pointers that may be helpful in your pastoral response to your churches. It's been just fantastic to see the way so many of our churches have been innovative and responding and pastorally caring. In fact, if anything, I think the whole care of our people is somehow amped up as people are working out different ways to keep in touch and to make contact with their people. I just want to share a few things with you. I trust you've been following the various updates that David Washington's been sending as well, particularly concerning your ability to access JobKeeper payments, and also the funding that's there for not-for-profit organisations like our churches. And if you have any queries about that, because some of the legislation and the way that it's all being processed is reasonably complicated, feel free to contact either David Washington or Pastor Fiona Vortman, my wife. Is pretty much around it. So are some of the other larger church administrators, Nathan Betcher, our National Secretary. There's plenty of help there to help you negotiate these rather complex worlds that we've suddenly entered into. But there is funding support, and how amazing that our government is allowing that to happen. I just want to encourage you this morning a bit about the fact that there's physical distancing does not mean or need to mean social distancing. And as these weeks go on, there's a lot of people who are going stir crazy in their homes, particularly in the weeks when they still have their children with them. And it's not an easy thing to be cooped up. And it's bringing to the fore a lot of mental challenges and struggles that people go through. I mentioned last conversation with you that you must particularly be aware of that and be sensitive to those people who may need that support that is in our community, from professional organisations, but also yourself pastorally as you help encourage people. Feeling lonely is a big thing, and helping people to deal with isolation and that sense of aloneness is, I think, one of the key pastoral responses that we need to work towards and watch. So let me just say a few other things just by introduction, and then just share 4 quick points with you on how you can help people through this season of isolation and make it not, maybe it is physical isolation, but it doesn't need to be social isolation. But there's a lot of changes going on in our culture, a lot of ongoing lessons that are being learned as we understand afresh the fragility of actually our world. We've lived in this fool's paradise that everything's fine in Australia, everything's fine in our world, in our Western world particularly. We've got lots of food usually on the table, there's work that we all are employed in, there's health systems, there's a ordered society, and that's all come pretty much tumbling down for a lot of people. Thank God Australia is nowhere near where some of the other nations are at, in South Australia, and is even in a better state than some of the other states in Australia, so we're very grateful for that. But there are ongoing lessons in all this for us as pastors to help our people through, understanding that in the midst of fragility there is one rock, and it's Jesus. And we know that, but here's a great opportunity to bring that message home again to your own people and also to those that they meet. The wise man builds his house on the rock. The foolish build their house on the sand. So there's a shifting of the culture, and I've got a feeling that our churches will be better off in the end because of this. God works it for good, and there's things happening that I think will be bring the church into a great opportunity in the future. Many of you are seeing many more people contacting you and being in touch with you in your online services, and the challenge will be how to bring that through to them coming into church afterwards. But it's exciting to see the technologies that are being picked up, and I reckon that's one of the things that will remain as we all become a lot more technologically savvy, and in that process we'll be able to reach a lot more people. And so I think that's a great thing. It's been a real kick in the pants, I guess, for all of us to get on board with the online world that our society has moved into so rapidly. There'll be lots of things that will remain changed, I think. Schooling may be different. Off-site working will be different. Health services are going to be different. The supply lines in Australia may look different, and we may do more of our own supplying and care, which may in fact stimulate a lot more local business. There's whole ranges of changes that have happened in a very accelerated way in the areas of justice and the way that we care for people. Job seeker has gone up, faster systems for processing. All these things I think will be actually lead to the betterment for our culture. And it'll be interesting to see, as these government systems have now changed, what remains for us, eh? So, more importantly, I think, the view of community has changed. People took each other for granted, and now we sense how important our connections are. That gives a great opportunity for the church, as the community of faith, to absorb people into a caring, ongoing community. And I reckon we've got a great season ahead for us. The view of the family has changed. Just to see so many families walking around together. Whilst there is, of course, as I mentioned last time, the tension of domestic violence in some homes, for many it's a rediscovering of their kids, of time with their children, of time with each other as families. And that's got to be of benefit and a positive outcome from all this that I trust will remain. Just the whole notion of having downtime, not living at such a frenetic pace. Everyone always complains, I haven't got time. Well, we've certainly got time now, and may that just change the rhythm of our world and our lives as we move forward. So lots of positive things happening in our culture. And in that all, we become better people. We understand the fragility of our world, we respond differently, and God uses this to actually make us into better people, for us to develop and grow in ourselves. So as you look to yourself, may the Lord just show you some ways in which you can in fact become better. I've been doing a lot of study through 1 Peter and 2 Peter, who wrote into the context of a very similar culture that was suffering in his day. And 1 Peter 4:7, it says to make sure that we care and look after each other, and it lists some 6 things that we should be doing. I encourage you to have a good read of that and just reflect on each of those points. You know, what are you doing in response to all this in terms of changing yourself, even as a pastor, as a leader? 1 Peter 5:6, it says, therefore humble yourselves under God's mighty hand, that he may in turn lift you up in due time. This is a season for lifting up. This is a season for us to become better. Now let me just share 4 quick things with you that I think can help you in your care of people amidst loneliness. And in Proverbs 17 and verse 17, it says, a dear friend will love you no matter what. A dear friend will love you no matter what. We need dear friends right now. The other proverb that I'm thinking of is that the Lord has set the lonely in families, and how important it is to be part of the family of God. So here are just 4 quick things just to perhaps reflect on. Firstly, encourage people to be praying for each other. 1 Thessalonians 5:11, so encourage each other and build each other up, just as in fact you are already doing. This is an opportunity for us to, with even greater intensity, communicate with each other. And one of the best ways to deal with loneliness is to get involved in other people's worlds. Start communicating with them. Start talking to them. Start connecting with them. And that sort of, we must get in touch sometime, line that we often use, or I'll catch you soon. Let's turn that round to actually picking up the phone, communicating, whether it's with WhatsApp or with FaceTime or the other technologies that are available, but get in touch. And then pray for each other. Don't just talk about whatever. Pray for each other. You can pray right now. We can encourage our people to be people of prayer. And so 1 Thessalonians 5:11, encourage each other with those words and build each other up. Secondly, just encourage real conversations to open up. Not just the trivialities. Honest talk. Open talk. Proverbs 13:20 says, you become wise by walking with the wise. Hang out with fools and watch your life fall to pieces. You know, this is an opportunity for us to be around people who can actually encourage us, who can build us up. And you can talk to people through podcasts, the people you're communicating with online. Who are you listening to? Don't just listen to the latest Netflix movies. There's some amazing stuff around online, sermons and other great content and people that can just enrich your life, but open up your life to real conversations. And in that process, how are you doing? What's going on? Talk to your friends on the phone and go beyond the surface of things. Proverbs 13:20 says you become wise by walking with the wise. Thirdly, learn to start serving together. Hebrews 10:24 says, let us think of ways to motivate one another and to motivate one another to acts of kindness and love and good works. How can you, in isolation, encourage each other to serve together? Well, there's heaps of things that you can do, and one of the things that I trust will spin out of all of this time is a greater understanding of the power of volunteerism. And even now, you can volunteer and encourage people to be serving one another. You can serve by just ringing up. You can serve by sending some food parcels to people in need. There's lots of things we can do, and some of our churches have become pretty organised in those sorts of things, and I encourage you to keep doing it. And fourthly, start to use your church, our church, as a networking opportunity and as a real family, not just as a place for meeting. We don't just meet on Zoom meetings or on Sundays in the future. Let's meet all together all the time and get into each other's worlds and start to look beyond the Zoom moments and those moments of hi at church for maybe a few minutes as we walk in and out into actually developing networks of relationship. This is a great opportunity for you to speak into this and to encourage people to phone each other, to FaceTime each other, to use the apps, the WhatsApp or whatever other communication support you can get, and allow yourselves to network. You can even do that globally. You can do that to some of the third world countries. You know, I've been contacting our mission fields and some of the personnel there. It's been amazing. I should have been doing it a lot more before, and I'm doing it more now, and I hope that we can, and pray that we can all continue to do that more into the future. And I guess the third thing I'd say, or the next thing I'd say, is let's all just continue to do good. Engage with needs wherever they are. Missions and overseas, sure. We all do that pretty well, and I think our movement is pretty well known as a missions movement overseas, but I reckon there's a lot more we can do in terms of home missions as well, reaching out to the needs of Australians. And this has become pretty obvious in these last weeks and months, that there are needs in our own communities. Let's think of the volunteer organisations that we may be able to get besides Meals on Wheels, others that are crying out right now for some volunteers and helps. But there's many things that we as the church could connect with. And in the whole process, we deal with the issues of loneliness and we broaden the capacity for us to be networking and relating to each other. So, where are you at? Where are your people at? I don't know how much longer this is going to go on like this. We were to be heading, now it's May, we were to be heading into having our state conference during this time. I'm not sure what outcomes or what ways we'll look at networking across our state, but at least through this way of me communicating with you and various other things as we email each other, as Pastor Bill Vasilakis does it at the national level, there's great opportunities for us to connect with each other. May the Lord's grace and favour continue with you, to be with you, and we look forward to the time when we can be back together, back with our families, the family of God, back with our churches, and doing church in the way that we love doing. My thoughts and prayers are with you, and I trust these few words might encourage you as you continue to serve the Lord. God's grace, favour be with you.